In this story we will uncover the truth behind the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. Welcome to our channel. Once again, sit tight as the story unfolds. In the early morning hours of March 18, 1990, Boston was wrapped in St. Patrick's Day leftovers. Bars had closed. The streets were quiet. Yet at 1:24 a.m., a small light above a locked museum door flickered on. Two men stood outside the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, wearing authentic-looking Boston police uniforms. Their patrol car even had flashing lights. Everything about them said authority, safety, law. Inside, 23-year-old security guard Rick Abath watched them through the camera monitor. He had never dealt with police showing up at night before. The men insisted they were responding to a noise complaint. Abath hesitated. Museum policy clearly stated that officers must stay outside unless summoned. Still, they looked official. He was alone, and he feared getting in trouble if he denied the police. He buzzed them in. The moment the fake officers stepped inside, the tone shifted. They told Abath he looked familiar. They ordered him away from the desk. Confused and nervous, he complied. Within seconds, guns were drawn. What you're seeing is not a drill. Handcuffs clamped onto his wrists. A second security guard walked in on the situation and was immediately subdued. Duct tape was wrapped over both of their eyes, mouths, and heads, ensuring they could see nothing of the crime. They were dragged to the basement and secured to pipes. Their radios were removed. Their movements reduced to breathing. The thieves promised they would not be harmed if they stayed quiet. Meanwhile, upstairs, motion sensors captured every step the thieves took. Those logs revealed something chilling later. The thieves knew exactly where they were going, and what was worth the most. This was not improvisation. This was a blueprint executed with military calm. 81 minutes. That's all they needed to tear a hole in the art world that has never healed. Investigators later reconstructed the thieves' movements using motion sensor logs. At 1:48 a.m., nearly 15 minutes after entering, the thieves approached the museum's most valuable room, the Dutch Room. Their first target, Rembrandt van Rijn's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, the only seascape he ever painted. The thieves did not attempt to remove the painting properly. They cut it directly from the frame. Rough, fast, confident. Investigators believe they used a sharp blade, not specialized art tools. The empty frame still hangs in the museum today as a reminder of the loss. Nearby hung another Rembrandt, a lady and gentleman in black. It received the same treatment. Cut, rolled, removed. Next, they focused on an extraordinarily rare work, Johannes Vermeer's The Concert. Only about 34 Vermeers exist in the world. This piece alone is now valued at over $200 million. A small self-portrait etching by Rembrandt, normally easy to steal, was ignored. The selection was strategic. High value, high profile. Motion sensors then recorded movement toward the short gallery. There, the thieves took 5 Degas sketches, small enough to fold or stack quickly. They also removed an ancient Chinese bronze beaker known as a gu. Time continued to pass. No panic. No mistakes. These men knew the museum alarms would not trigger on paintings being removed. They had studied the weaknesses. Finally, they entered the Blue Room. Only one piece was taken. Edouard Manet's Chez Tortoni. The frame was left behind in a different room, indicating they may have been reorganizing or packing while inside. By 2:45 a.m., motion stopped. The exit path suggests they used the same side door they entered. No fingerprints. No alarms. No witnesses. Total stolen. 13 artworks. Combined value, estimated $500 to $600 million. None have been recovered. At sunrise on March 18, 1990, the day guards arrived for their shift. They found the museum silent, motionless. 2 security guards missing. A search led them to the basement. Bound, blindfolded, disoriented. The scope of the crime became clear when curators reached the Dutch room. Frames hung empty. Paintings gone. The FBI was contacted immediately. Investigators began tearing apart the timeline. The thieves had bypassed the museum's only panic button, the security desk. Once the guard stepped away, the alarm system was effectively neutralized. No CCTV footage existed. In 1990, the museum only recorded the lobby camera. The rest of the building was monitored live, but not taped. That left the FBI with 3 primary evidence sources: a motion sensor logs, a physical crime scene damage, a behavioral analysis, the precision, the confidence, the selective targeting. These characteristics pointed investigators toward organized crime, specifically the Boston Mafia. At the time, several crime families were involved in art trafficking. Stolen masterpieces can be used as leverage in criminal deals, such as a negotiating reduced prison sentences, a securing protection, a black market financing. Multiple known figures were questioned over the years. None admitted involvement. No artwork was found in raids. Several suspects died before they could be fully interrogated. One unusual detail caught investigators' attention. A fire alarm wire was cut months before the heist. No suspect was ever linked to that incident. Another clue. A museum employee from the 1980s had ties to criminal circles. He was questioned repeatedly but denied any role. Each lead turned into a wall. Interviews, wiretaps, international intelligence sharing. 30 years of investigation delivered no definitive breakthrough. In 2013, the FBI announced they believed they knew who committed the crime. Yet the case remains unsolved because both thieves are likely deceased, and the artwork's current location is still a mystery. 3 decades after the Gardner heist, the case remains active. The FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the museum's own security division continue to chase every credible lead. What they want most is not arrests. It is recovery. If the stolen art still exists, experts believe it has survived through careful preservation. These objects are too valuable to destroy, too recognizable to sell openly. They are likely being moved quietly through the black market, protected by people who understand their worth as bargaining chips. The most focused theory places the paintings in criminal custody along the U.S. East Coast. Organized crime groups in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Philadelphia have all been connected to traces of the investigation. Informants over the years have claimed the artwork changed hands multiple times. One recurring claim suggests that the storm on the Sea of Galilee and the concert were once stored in climate-controlled containers to protect them from moisture damage. If true, this indicates continued attempts to preserve their financial value. Meanwhile, the museum refuses to replace the missing pieces. The empty frames hang exactly where the artworks once lived, serving as placeholders and silent appeals for their return. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum currently offers a $10 million reward for information leading to the safe recovery of the art. This is the highest reward in art world history, despite extensive global outreach through Interpol, customs agencies, art crime databases, private recovery networks. No verified sighting of any stolen piece has been made public. Investigators say the best hope is that someone, somewhere, decides that the reward is worth more than the risk of keeping legendary stolen art hidden. The museum heist may be over, but the story doesn't end here. Thanks for watching and being part of our journey. Your likes, comments, and shares help this channel uncover more of history's most daring crimes. Subscribe now and join us as we dig deeper into the shadows of the past. Until next time, stay curious.